The Nestucca, Neskowin, and Sand Lake Watersheds Council presents Tillamook Watersheds. What is a watershed? A watershed is the land area that drains to a lake, stream, river, or other water body. Every inch of the U.S. is part of a watershed because all land drains to a water body and directly affects its quality. Therefore, we all live in a watershed. Now that we know what a watershed is, what makes a healthy watershed? A healthy watershed is one in which natural land cover supports habitat of sufficient size and connectivity to support the native aquatic and riparian species, physical and chemical water quality conditions that are able to support healthy biological communities, and dynamic hydrologic and geomorphologic processes within their natural range of variation. Unfortunately, healthy watersheds are uncommon, particularly in the eastern United States and in most other parts of the nation that are urbanized, farmed, or mined. Who works to protect our watersheds?
Hello, my name is Adriana Maria Morales. I am the District Fisheries Biologist for the USDA Forest Service, Sayuslao National Forest, Hibo Ranger District. In our forest, we have several units that we work for the public. We work in wildlife, we work in timber, we work in silviculture, recreation, aquatics that involve fisheries and hydrology. We have engineering, and we have a lot of services that we provide to the public.
I'm Dave Shively. I'm the Executive Director of the Nestucca, Neskowin, and Sand Lake Watersheds Council. Our council has been involved with watershed restoration and watershed protection since 1997, and it's a role that we take very seriously, and it's work that we really enjoy.
So the Hibo Stewardship Group is one of 5 different stewardship groups connected with the Sayuslao National Forest, and the stewardship groups are groups that are just groups of stakeholders interested in restoration work, primarily interested in what the Forest Service is doing with their land. They're not official advisory groups for the forest, but they are in dialogue with the forest and partner with the forest and think about restoration together. So I am the facilitator for the group, which I'm an independent contractor, so I'm not an employee of the Forest Service. And so I keep the group together, I organize their meetings, keep a record of their conversations, I support the participants as they plan project applications for the funding cycle that happens once a year, kind of help them through the multi-step process to get funding, and act as a liaison with the Forest Service to help both the Forest Service connect with members and the members be sure they have access to specialists who they need to have help with on their projects. We also try to go on a couple field trips a year, so part of my role also is to work with the Forest Service and with group participants to identify issues they want to look at, locations they're interested in, set the itinerary up, and go along on the field trips.
What do healthy watersheds provide? Healthy watersheds provide critical services, including protecting water quality, which can be heavily affected in a watershed by runoff from rain events. They can also provide productive fisheries and outdoor recreation opportunities, as well as supporting the economy and environment. While human activity has greatly altered waters and watersheds, there are many organizations and government agencies working to protect, restore, and enhance watersheds. Why are watersheds important?
The migratory fish call the attention with the regulatory agencies and also with the public, because we are talking about salmon. We have 5 different species of salmonids that they are very, very important for the economy of Oregon and principally for the economy in Tillamook County. And also we have a Pacific lamprey. We have coho salmon, and coho salmon is a protected ESA, we call Endangered Species Act listed species. We work with Chinook salmon, we work with cod trout, chon salmon, and steelhead, and Pacific lamprey. These animals, in biological terms, we call anadromous fish species because they born in fresh water. And as soon they are growing, they are coming down the streams. When they start to be juveniles, they came to the estuaries where the water is brackish, it's not very fresh water, but it's not salty water. And they made their internal organs to be adapted to migrate to the ocean. As soon they migrate to the ocean, they continue to grow and they get the sexual maturity. And after that, they come back to the same place where they born. This is anadromous. Born in fresh water, go to salt water, and come back to fresh water to reproduce.
What are the impacts to our local watersheds?
We have three major problems. They include water quality, which is primarily stream temperatures, which are typically getting to be too warm in summertime. We have fish passage as another important challenge affecting our watersheds. And the third is the natural complexity of our streams that is important for providing high quality habitat for anadromous salmon, trout, and other aquatic organisms. To expand, the stream temperature problem is caused by riparian clearing, removal of riparian vegetation, which has occurred historically to help increase area suitable for agricultural cultivation, dairy land, and also associated with logging practices. And so restoring riparian vegetation, particularly larger trees that can help to shade streams from solar radiation, is an important activity that the Watershed Council engages in. In terms of fish passage, we have over the decades constructed a lot of road crossings of streams that rely on culverts that are typically undersized and or don't function very well. And the third major issue that I identified is this lack of stream complexity. Much of it is owing to the historic removal of large woody debris from streams because it was felt that that debris could impact infrastructure such as roads and bridges and culverts in particular. Well, we've learned that large woody debris is super important in terms of causing a lot of complex habitat to be created and maintained in our streams. And we know now that our fish and other aquatic organisms rely on that high quality habitat. And so we've undertaken projects now where we're putting wood back into streams to replenish what had been there historically over millennia. And achieve more natural-looking waterways and naturally functioning waterways to the benefit of the organisms and the environment in general.
What projects are being done in our watersheds?
We engage in a number of different types of activities that are related to watershed restoration, and those include fish passage restoration, so providing improved passage for migrating salmon, steelhead, and other aquatic species through road crossings, typically those which have historically been small culverts, which are prone to clogging or that impede fish passage because of flow velocities or other types of problems. We engage in watershed restoration through riparian planting projects and have goals of improving about 2 miles of riparian area every growing season. And we have been engaging in some large wood habitat enhancement projects, which are designed to increase stream complexity and increase the habitat complexity that results from improved stream complexity.
We have a lot of projects here, not only aquatic organisms passage projects that we call AOPs. We also do large wood debris projects or large wood placements in the streams. And all of this is to enhance the aquatic life for not only the migratory species we have here, also for macroinvertebrates, for wildlife, terrestrial and aquatic species. We work for all of them.
What kinds of work has happened that informs our project selection, our project identification? As I mentioned before, we've had the culvert prioritization study. We have salmon superhighways, culvert prioritization. So those are really important for fish passage projects. In order to understand the potential benefits of those fish passage improvement projects, we can rely on our watershed assessments that were performed years ago and the periodic reporting that's done by Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife on spawning surveys or fish densities or habitat conditions on different streams. And so we'll often pool together a variety of different reports and data to analyze and examine and analyze in the context of a suite of different project ideas.
When we are talking about projects, we cannot talk about ourselves. In reality, we are working in partnership with a lot of agencies. We are working with federal agencies, we are working with the state agencies, we are working with local agencies, and we are working with non-profit organization agencies. Now, partnerships, again, are the salvation for us, because in reality, if we go alone to do a project, sometimes we don't have a staff capacity, sometimes we don't have the money, but when we enter in partnership to accomplish projects, that's it. Every partner came together, every partner provides something for the project, we put the things together, and voila, we have a project done.
Partnerships are absolutely critical. Without them, watershed councils wouldn't be able to succeed. We recognize, and all of our partners recognize, that without the partnerships that we've created and strive to maintain and even improve on, we wouldn't have the opportunities to do the restoration and enhancement work that we do. Then partners can include, of course, private landowners. Landowners are critical. They're the linchpin for a lot of our projects. If landowners aren't interested in participating in a particular project, then it probably won't be moving forward at all. And so we're actively engaged in trying to work with private landowners to identify those project opportunities on their properties and move forward in terms of project scoping, project planning, and then project design and implementation. We ought to call our restoration work partnership oriented restoration because it just is that important to restoration work.
Do you have questions or concerns about your watershed?
If you have any concern in your stream, please be free to contact the watershed councils, contact the Trout Unlimited, or contact Forest Service or U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, any agency, the state, Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. Contact them, because as soon somebody knows something, we communicate immediately if we can do something about. And if we can do a project, we will work on that. And in the majority of the time, it's free for the landowner. It's a good thing.